Hey, Facebook. Oh, we're going to turn that down so we can hear. Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark. He's not used to this live stuff. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to give it just a few moments for people to log on, log in. We got a really cool conversation tonight with our buddy Mark about the big 2A, the big Second Amendment, things that you are going to want to know. I guarantee you think you know, and you probably don't. So log on, go ahead and hit that share button, hit that like button, make sure that we're getting the message out tonight, and then log back on, and we'll have a great conversation tonight. So we'll give you just a few moments. In the meantime, we want to give a big shout out to Warrensburg Ford. Again, they have put us in a really nice vehicle to come out and do our conversation in. 2018, what are we in? We're in a Jeep Wrangler.
Rubicon,
Rubicon. It's just a beautiful Jeep, guys. I'm a Jeep guy, so I'm loving this tonight. So it is for sale, but I'm not gonna sell you on it. But again, thank you Ford for all you do for us. You guys ready to go? You just want to get rolling or what?
We give it a couple. We got several people jumping on now.
Okay. Make sure when you jump on to say hi, guys. Make sure we know you're here, and so we can have a cool back and forth conversation tonight. So
yeah, comment, questions. This is going to be a really cool conversation tonight, guys.
Yep.
And ladies.
That's right, and ladies.
And ladies. About 40% of our audience is ladies.
Mark, you just got to jump in, man. I see you're like I want to say something, but Dale's like, you just got to jump in, man.
Joe said, "Hey guys, love you, Mark.
I love
Miss you,
Joe.
brother."
Awesome, Joe. Share
we
this
should go
thing.
by and see Joe. That's what we should do.
We could. We're driving around town, man.
We got to do our intro though. Let's get rolling.
Oh, we do. You want to go and do the intro?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
Okay.
People jumping on now.
All right, guys. Well, it is straight up guy talk time, and therefore we are going to start the way that we always do. Good evening. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Dale.
I'm Mark.
I'm Mary.
And you're watching. Come on, guys.
Straight
up
up
guy
Guy
talk. All right. All
That
right.
was good. I like that.
That was pretty good. That was fun, man.
There
I
was
like
no
that.
rehearsal.
We
for
didn't.
that,
Yeah,
by
we
the way.
didn't practice.
Man, we should like be online or something with this.
That's right.
So-
you should do this live.
That's right, Dale. We're on you, man.
All right, I'm look. Hey, Chad, and we got Steven. What's up, guys? All right, so I've been looking forward to this conversation. We got Mr. Mark with us tonight, and we're going to talk Second Amendment. We're going to talk our gun rights. We're going to talk a little bit about the legislation that's kind of being whispered about, talked about in D.C., and kind of pick Mark's brain. Mary's got some questions, I know. Let's jump right into it. Mark, Second Amendment, man. Let me ask you this. What does that do to your insides?
So, I truly believe that the Second Amendment is the most important aspect of our Constitution because it's the piece that allows the citizens to keep everybody in check. It's the one thing. Without the Second Amendment, you can lose freedom of speech, freedom of religion. You can lose freedom, period, without your ability to stand up against tyranny because, United States is kind of a, really fairly short-term experiment. All the other cultures throughout the world usually ended in some sort of tyranny or some sort of kingship or that kind of thing. And our forefathers knew that we needed that. The Second Amendment is not to, in the arguments against it, like I was talking to a family member recently and they said, well, why would you need 30 rounds to go hunting with? Well, I don't need 30 rounds to hunt with. I need 30 rounds to protect myself from a tyrannical government.
Right. Yeah.
I've never gotten off a second shot on a deer, ever.
Or
So
it's nobody's business why I need 30 rounds.
Well, or that. But it's, the idea of military-style weapons is that, well, of course we need military-style. How are you supposed to stand up against the military
Right.
without military-style weapons.
Right, there's Joe right there. Joe, you need to say hi, man. We're passing your house right
Is
now.
that him?
Right there in a little blue
That's
van.
so awesome. I love Joe.
That little blue van.
Hey, Joe.
Yep, we're gonna honk. There you go. That's
Oh,
for you,
he's
Joe.
got the cross on the side
Oh, yeah,
of
he
his
does.
yard.
Yeah, he
Where'd
always
it
has a
go?
cross.
Is that the one he
You know,
hauls
the other
around
thing
town?
Yes, it
I'll
is.
add to
That's
that,
cool.
Mark, as well is this isn't a new debate on Second Amendment. It goes
Oh,
back to like
gosh, no.
1791 with the Federalists and Anti-Federalists. I'm being a history guy, but also what people don't understand is the heritage to firearms, passing them down in your families, and the hunting and the collecting. People don't get that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and a lot of, here in Missouri, there's a lot of things we take for granted because like there was a bill recently passed in the state of Missouri that protects us from any federal,
I saw that.
how do you put it, any sort of federal intrusion on the Second Amendment is illegal in the state of Missouri, and they won't allow anybody to work within the state, so no federal agency can work within the state if they're going to enforce any Second Amendment infringements that are federal.
Don't you love Missouri?
Jandy has a question for you.
Jandy's question. What's your
Her
question,
question
Jandy?
is, do you believe everyone should be able to own a gun? And then Isaac wants to know, can the government legally take away our guns?
I think that all law-abiding citizens should own a gun. I'll put it kind of like loosely, law-abiding citizens.
Right.
Now, with that being said, what was Isaac's question?
Can the government legally take away our guns?
Definitely no.
Floyd.
Oh,
from
Floyd.
School, yeah.
Floyd.
Yep. He's in here. He's in here.
All right. Hey, Floyd. He's not in the back.
No, he's not.
Okay.
He's not in there. He's not in there.
No, and that's there's a big fear on my channel. People are they're scared that the government is going to take our guns, and I'll just tell you, there's other things I am concerned about in the realm of the Second Amendment, but I am not worried about people taking our guns. There were 21 million background checks last year. I mean, there's so many guns.
Right.
There's an estimated somewhere between 380 million to close to 700 million, if not close to 1 billion guns.
That's a lot of firearms
in the United States. How? Like, there's no way you could possibly take everybody. It's an impossible task.
I've asked you this question because you hear it. Do you think there's some type of secret registry? Like, does ATF really have people's purchases and their records, or do you think that's not the case?
I do not think it's the case. I've actually looked into that quite a bit. Now, I've not stood with an ATF agent and kind of watched what he does, so there's obviously a lot of things I don't know. But what I understand is that when I go and I buy a gun and I pass a background check, that application stays at the gun store. It's for their own records. They cannot be inspected by the ATF more than once a year. There's a law. They can only be inspected once a year.
I was going to ask you if the ATF had the ability to come in and be like, hey,
they do,
show me your
but
records.
just once a year.
Okay.
So, like, you take a little gun store like Blue Steel in Raytown. I mean, they've sold tens and tens and tens of thousands of guns this year, or last year in 2020.
Right.
So, of course, just that one store would be virtually impossible to dig through. I interviewed a lady one time on this, and she said it's the only thing you would have to worry is if they're looking for you specifically.
Right.
So if you're a wanted person, they may find out your information.
Okay.
But they can't go in. I mean, it's just too impossible. Every store, hundreds of thousands. Now, if you make a multi-gun purchase, that then is registered for a period of time, and that stays with the ATF. So even if I'm buying 2 guns, I will go do 2 background
So
checks.
digitally it goes in, or just paperwork wise?
I'm not really sure. I think paperwork wise, any multi-gun purchase, I don't know why, it's been a kind of a red flag for the ATF on why somebody would then all of a sudden want multiple guns with one purchase. And then I also understand that's multiple handgun purchases as well.
So, okay. Awesome. We got any questions, or?
But as of now, there's no registry. There are state registries.
Yeah, read Joe's post.
All right.
Certain states have registry.
Okay.
Missouri does not.
All right. So
Federal does not.
Joe had a question again.
Well,
He had a comment.
Get a comment, okay?
Joe said, I love guns, but I also have a crazy past, so they don't let me have guns anymore, LOL. So I just have to have friends like Mark these days that have many cool guns, LOL. And then
There you
Jandy
go.
said, Joe, that's kind of my point. You're not who you used to be, so can you ever have a gun again?
Well, you know, that's interesting. The new Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett, Supreme Court Justice, she had argued a case before she was on the Supreme Court and won it that, and I think this is going to be the direction that non-violent, because it used to be just felons could not buy guns.
Yep.
Well, there's a lot of felonies that are non-violent, so non-violent felonies may be able to purchase guns in the near future.
They need to look at that.
And I think they will, to be quite honest.
Let's talk about the craziest thing that we could talk about is that I keep saying it's HR.
HR 127.
127.
Yeah.
Give us a rundown of what you're seeing in that, and can maybe kind of a couple bullet points of each one of those things that they're talking about in that HR 127. Maybe kind of explain to people what that is.
So HR 127 is a House bill in the U.S. House. It's just been introduced. That's all that's happened to it so far. But it freaks people out. I do know who introduced it.
Jackson, was it?
No. Miss Jackson Lee. Introduced the following bill. So this bill is pretty hardcore. Ultimately, what it's saying is lots of things. The pieces of it is everybody who owns a gun has to have a license. So if you own a gun, you need to have a firearm license according to this bill.
Just one license for all your firearms? Or
Then you have to register every single firearm.
Okay.
So you have to have a license to own a gun. Then you also have to register every single firearm. Now, then it also includes military-style weapons. That's a whole different license. So if I have a license to own a firearm, I can't own something like an AR-15
unless you have another
unless I have a second license to
classify as
what's a military? You have to say what is.
Well,
a
now they do classify that in this bill. Okay. They give a list of several guns, like any Kalashnikov, or they give like an FN Herstal's AR-15. They list about 30 different guns. But here's where it gets really iffy: is on the military style weapons, as it says. A military style weapons follows in this category, has a pistol grip and at least one of the following, and then it gives or two of the following, and it gives a list of things like flash suppressor, threaded barrel, detachable magazine, retractable stock, so it quickly puts almost any gun that has a pistol grip and a magazine into question. Now, I don't know if something like a Glock 17 would fall in that category.
Well, it's definitely more than 10 rounds.
If you had a threaded barrel, it would.
Okay.
What's up, Bill?
G&D has a very interesting question for you guys.
Okay.
And I was actually going to ask this, so I'm curious. What are the restrictions in regards to mental health diagnosis? For example, bipolar or anxiety issues?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. When you fill out a background check, obviously your medical history is private information. But as you fill out a background check, it does ask you that information. So if you say, yes, I have it, I don't think they would pass you. Whether they know or not, that's a whole other story. If it hasn't popped up in like a court case or something like that, then I don't know how they'd know, to be quite honest.
Right, because of HIPAA. I mean, you can't.
Because of HIPAA, right.
You just can't go into it yet.
Now the other piece of that HR 127 is, in order to get a firearm license, you have to pass a psych exam, a psychological evaluation.
List all the things that you would have to do within 30 days, what they're requiring if this would happen to go through. As gun owners, what we'd have to do.
Get a license. So for like me, I'd have to have both license. I would have to register every single firearm, and registering it, you have to say like where you got it, what kind it is, and then I would be, I think I'd be okay at that point.
Well, I thought I was reading there's a psych evaluation.
Oh, the psych evaluation. I apologize.
Insurance.
Yeah, you'd have to do the psych evaluation and the insurance. Yeah, that's the other piece. You have to have firearm insurance, and you have to show how you store your weapons and things like that, as well as the possibility of licenses for ammo.
I heard that.
Yep.
And taxing on ammo as well.
Is there any red flag type laws in this legislation?
Not directly in this particular legislation, but red flag laws, in my opinion, are the most dangerous aspects, threats to the Second Amendment, because what a red flag law means, and many states have them already. Missouri does not, but a lot of states do. And what that means is all I'd have to do, so if I want Jonathan to lose his weapons, all I have to do is go to a judge and convince that judge that he's a threat, and then without due process, as long as
I don't get to plead my case.
No, you don't even know I'm doing this at this point.
That's pretty jacked up.
They will then put a warrant to then come to your house and seize your firearms. Then, now of course I have to convince that judge that you're a threat. But something, I mean, I could just say, hey, he's been telling everybody wants, this, that.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on which judge you get. I mean, I've met some terrible judges and some great judges. But as long as I can convince a judge of your threat, you lose your firearms, and they can keep them for up to a year. While you're going through the process of trying to get them back.
Yeah, that is dangerous.
All right, time out. Mark, Mary has to give a shout out to a couple people.
Okay.
Right.
Hi, Christina. Hi, Bev. Hi, Mason.
Oh, Mason's watching.
Mason's missing Mary.
Okay, Mason, before I left today, I was like, hey, I gotta go, guys, gotta go. And Mason goes, bye, straight up guy talk guy. He loves it. I'll get home and he'll go, and you're watching Straight Up Guy Talk. That's my 5-year-old. He loves it, man.
Back, Mark, with this psych evaluation. What's that do to our military guys that have PTSD? And those, I think that's an attack on.
Let me go back to red flag laws first, real quick. Is that the big problem with red flag laws is if they establish federal red flag laws, any federal judge can deem a certain people group dangerous, and that's exactly what happened in Nazi Germany. Like, they had some of the freest gun laws on the planet, but they had some red flag laws, and then it was determined that Jews were dangerous.
Right.
So they, of course, seized all their guns, and that was the end of it. So being able to determine, like, are Christians threat, or is this group threat, or is that militia
that opens it up for that extreme.
It opens it up for it. I mean, if they're on the books, then all it takes is a judge to say that group is dangerous, and then they.
So if you have an extremist Christian, and I use the term loosely because everybody says they're Christian, you know what I mean? So if you have a group that does something terrible and they're claiming it as Christians, that would possibly give a judge
oh, absolutely.
An open door. Okay.
So red flag laws, in my opinion, are the most dangerous because there's no due process there.
Right.
There's no chance to plead your case until after the fact. Now, the psych exams, that's the thing. I mean, post-traumatic stress disorder, I mean, does that, that's not right, that somebody that's been to war should have to lose their firearm because they're dealing with some PTSD or it's just not right. But it is the case, if you are if you have to pass the psych evaluation, and that, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a question on there that asks about post-traumatic stress.
To be able to target ex-police officers, ex-military,
those who are trained on the weapon,
those that are trained, pastors or churches. It just seems like it makes it really easy to target, like you're saying.
It does. It definitely does.
I'm going to read a comment. Mr. Bill Doofer, you never disappoint, brother. I love you, man. I'm going to read this. I'm not ashamed, man. I'm not ashamed. He says, I got my glass. Read this, Mary.
Bill said, how in the world did you get Dale's big butt in the back seat?
Well, brother, it took 3 of them.
It's a 4-door.
And they pushed me in.
That's right.
I could take 3 to pull me out of this. So I fit, man. I'm here, brother.
We have a couple more comments, too.
Okay.
Jandy said, is a background check a one and done thing, or do you have to be reevaluated occasionally? And then Joe said, it's crazy how many restrictions and how complicated they are trying to make it for law-abiding citizens to practice their Second Amendment right, because all the criminals will not be following any laws or regulations, just as they already don't. So all this stuff is doing is setting up on
safe, all of us. I want to protect my family.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
We just have different ways of going about it. So,
Right.
for example, for me, to protect my family means that we always have a firearm around. For somebody else to protect their family, that means that everybody else has got to get rid of their firearms.
Okay.
And therein lies the problem: is we all want the same thing.
What's the definition?
That is very for pretty serious gun restrictions.
Some of it is hard to maybe accept because I don't see them out there screaming about, I mean, drunk drivers that are killing innocent people. Are we going to take away cars? Or they say that's just not
Well, if it's an
practical,
assault car,
an assault car.
Assault
yeah,
car.
an assault car. I mean,
It's got to be black. It's a black car.
it's got to be a black
Yeah.
car. It's got to be an assault car.
Right.
And I'm
Got a
sure-
big old steel grill.
So that'd be this one. This would be
yeah, this would be
this
Yeah.
Jeep would be an
This would be an
assault
assault.
Jeep. I like it. I like it.
Right.
I'm sold.
I guess really what it comes down to is that we're a heavily populated world, and people just get crazy. And of course, we got to be able to protect ourselves. And I just don't think there's ever going to be a day where we're going to be okay with not being able to have our God-given right to
Right.
just bear arms to protect our families. Like, there's no way that anybody's going to say, well, it's
all about, you know, like, was it, what, 7, 8, 10 years ago, Australia took the guns. What have you done any research or study as far as, you know, the crime statistics or how that worked for them?
You know, there's a few people that chime in from Australia on my channel,
Oh, that's cool.
and they're not big fans of it. You know, there's obviously things that take place in Australia. There's this value of life
Yeah.
that is just for some reason degraded in America greatly. We value life, I think, less than most other cultures on the planet. So as a result, we have a high rate of murder in the United States that's unlike any other country. But yet, a lot of countries per capita have a very similar gun tone or population. But yet, there's not, you know, so Australia isn't necessarily dealing with the types of things that America is because it's a different culture. But they do have issues. You know, crazy people are everywhere and murderous people are everywhere.
Right. So why not have something to protect yourself from those people?
Right.
We have a couple more comments.
Okay.
Joe said, personally, I don't think it's the government's business about any of the gun laws
Gun law abiding.
Yes, law-abiding citizens have. There we go. And then Chad said, our founding fathers made the Second Amendment for a reason. And then Jeff,
Is that Chad Chippy?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Chad Chippy. Man,
And
that's...
then Jeff Hunt just
Thought
chimed
we weren't
in.
giving last names.
So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had to ask. Man, I miss
But if you need
Chad.
electrical needs in Warrensburg, Chad Shippey, it should be electric.
Chippy Electric.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The consequences of it, mainly a national registry. Also, the legal gun owners weren't the ones who
God, family,
I was
guns.
going to do that before we logged off. Yeah,
Jump
absolutely.
on YouTube. I'm telling you guys, it's
Yep.
an awesome channel. Tons of content, tons of great information, good videos.
Yep.
You'll get to see
Good
this
content.
guy's face. And he's put a lot of hours. How long have you been doing that channel, Mark?
6 years.
6 years.
Six.
Yeah.
So,
1,000 videos.
yeah, there's a guy. I mean, he does a lot of the different shows, and he
Right.
gets insight to a lot of. Yeah, I mean, you can speak to a better name, but one gun manufacturers.
Well, it's interesting because even gun manufacturers, certain states have very heavy restrictions, like California, for example. They only allow guns in that state that are sold that go through their application process, which is very expensive. So, for example, Smith & Wesson, you know, they'll go and pay for that to get done, so you can buy a Smith & Wesson.
Right.
In California. But if you're a small gun manufacturer and you're not willing to pay the price, you can't sell your guns there. So it's really, a lot of it's about financial gain as well. But
Who benefits? Yeah.
you know, there's another House bill that a lot of people aren't aware of. This one's, I think, kind of a big deal. It's HR 1283, which essentially says that lawful open carry that threatens somebody makes you a felon.
What do you mean? What do you mean that threatens somebody?
Okay, so for example, my family lives on the West Coast.
Okay.
And when I go and visit them in Oregon and Washington, they don't recognize my concealed carry permit, so I can't conceal carry.
Correct.
there.
Yeah.
But I can open carry there.
Right.
Now, their open carry laws say that you can open carry as long as you're not, and I can't remember the legal terms, but it was as long as you're not freaking people out. So, well, guns freak people out.
Right.
So I literally... How am I supposed to go visit my family and carry a gun and not freak people out?
I don't know somebody else's mental state.
And they gave an example of a case in Washington where a guy was walking down the street carrying an AK-47. So that was a violation. Now, what they're getting at is I shouldn't be able to threaten somebody. Like, I shouldn't be able to go to Dale's house with a bunch of guns and be like, "Come outside, Dale."
That'd be an issue.
Like that should be against the law.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
legit.
That's a bad
You know,
thing.
I couldn't say, "Well, that's violating my Second Amendment," because I'm freaking him out.
Right.
But what if I just walk into a grocery store and people panic because I have a sidearm on me?
I mean, here in Missouri, like, you see that all the time at Walmart.
Yes.
Walmart. I mean, there's, you know, I'd rather somebody conceal carry just because I don't know. I think it's just better to conceal carry. But yep, there's a school.
Here we are at the school, man.
So,
I love this school.
But
stop by Johnson County Christian.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
man.
So
What a cool spot.
but yeah, I think, you know, open carry is good, but I think concealed carry is better in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
So-
The problem with open carry is it makes you a target for one.
Right.
It freaks people out. I just don't like it. So I thought a lot about it. I actually bought a gun specifically to visit my family that I didn't think would freak people
Been
out.
scared.
So some sort of a revolver.
You want to see it? I actually brought it.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Come on, man. Bring it on.
strangely. Yeah.
Look at that.
Now I have safety checked all these, by the way.
That's right.
But it's a
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a Kimber.
Okay.
Kimber's always nice.
Very
Kimber
cool.
Combat Magnum. there.
Very cool. Is it showing up?
But I got it.
They're not on live.
So we're still live.
Okay.
But I got it
See
just
it,
because it's
though.
got a wooden handle.
Sure.
There you go.
A little less black and scary. And
Yeah, it doesn't look as threatening.
Very cool. Bring it back a little bit
There
in
it
the middle
is,
so you can
it's
see
on
it.
there.
Yeah, bring it
There we
back in the light.
Yeah. That's
Very
nice,
cool.
man.
That's nice.
So I got that specifically to visit the family.
Mm-hmm.
It's my family
So that's
gun.
your open carry.
It's my family gun. yeah.
Your family open carry.
gun. I wish you have a family gun.
Wait, can we have those? We can have, honey. We can have those.
We can have family
Christina,
guns.
we can have family guns.
Tell mom.
I like it.
So I had to get. I mean, but that's the thing is, I was like, what can I carry
Right.
that wouldn't?
Right.
So I thought, well, a wooden handle revolver wouldn't freak people out.
But I think that's
And
why-
that's a great gun.
That's
too.
why people, I think, are going back to the Ruger Mini 14. Is it doesn't look scary like the AR-15, but it still shoots the same round. You know.
Yeah. And that's why I love guns like even the SKS. Like it looks like
Right.
it just looks like a hunting rifle.
Old
But
hunting
that gun's
rifle.
bad to the bone.
I want to I am taking a step back, but I want to ask you this question, Mark, because I don't think it's gone through yet, but this administration is talking about making gun manufacturers liable for the actions of an individual. If they use it in a bad way, that they're allowing, I think they're going to try to open that back up.
That's a can of worms.
Well, to be quite, I mean, not to even go back further, but Marlboro cigarettes warned everybody about
Yes, they
that
did.
Yes,
many
they did.
years ago. They warned them when they were getting
Yep.
sued. That's an unfortunate. I mean, George W. Bush passed a law that protects. I can't remember what that law is called, but it protects gun manufacturers from being sued from stupid people doing stupid stuff.
So they're trying to reverse that.
So they're trying to reverse it.
Okay.
Yeah.
got some comments, don't we?
Yes. All right. Bill said, they can take away the guns, but I feel they will never be gone. Open up the black market. Every morning I wake up and listen to all the shootings and deaths in Columbus. Unfortunately, with the way the world is, guns end up every day in the hands of bad people. Joe said, I can speak from my past. Law-abiding citizens need to have guns in their home to protect themselves from criminals. Whether people like it or not, they need guns. Most people have no clue the extent of evil that exists right in their communities. And then Jandy said a couple different things for us. She said, I think it is important to have the right to bear arms, but also it is important to be realistic about whether that is right for you personally. I know my quick temper and my tendency to react instead of to respond, so for me, guns are not a good idea. And then she said, Brooklyn and I have had that very conversation. Open carry doesn't freak me out because people who are carrying in the open aren't as likely to use it unless necessary because it traces back to them. Criminals, however, have no such accountability.
They do not.
Answer some of those. Answer any of those.
Yeah,
comments
so therein lies the problem. It's the same thing as the like the gun-free zones. Like that doesn't work. Like you can't tell a criminal,
right? You can't cross this line.
When you break the law, you have to break it this way. They're not going to obey any of that. So when you take guns, really all you're taking guns from are law-abiding citizens. Now again, I really don't believe there's ever going to be a day anytime soon that they're taking guns. It's just too big of a task. There is no way they would be able to achieve such a conquest. I mean, you couldn't. It's almost too late. Too late. There's millions of guns. Like you can't stop it at this point.
You said something earlier. We were talking today about all the presidents in your lifetime.
Yes. Well, it's funny because we always lean on leaders. Like, well, this leader will that went through, and I got quotes from every single president that has been a president since I've been alive on their desire to take guns. They've from Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush 2, Bush W,
Bush 2.0.
Bush number 2, Obama, Trump. Everybody has put forward. Not one of them has been pro-Second Amendment. Now, they may seem pro-Second Amendment on the outside, but if you actually look at their actions and you focus on what it is they're actually saying and doing when it comes to the Second Amendment, there was a push by Trump recently for federal red flag laws. I mean, again, that's the most dangerous anti-Second Amendment thing you can have.
Right. I was gonna say,
but it's been every single president. There has not been one. Go Google it. I mean, hear his own word. Don't take my word for it. Like YouTube it. Like you'll listen to him say it.
There are gun owners that were really upset.
Right.
Oh yeah, he just straight up said in a conference, "I like being able to take the guns first, and then due process." And it's like, well, that's that's the opposite of what the Constitution.
How about you,
and it's not about it's about every gun. It's really
politics involved, and there's all kinds of stuff.
It's constantly under assault. But the reality is we're freer now than we were, because back when Nixon was the president, you couldn't own a handgun. And
I didn't know that.
There was people out west that had some revolvers, but if you lived, I couldn't carry a gun around in the 80s at all. Or in the 90s, it wasn't until, I remember when I bought my first handgun in Missouri, I had to go to the sheriff's department and fill out an application for a handgun. So if I wanted 2 handguns, I'd have to do that twice.
Gotcha.
And you definitely couldn't carry a gun. And now, Missouri's constitutional carry. I can walk into a gun store and buy every gun they have, and
you might go
approved.
on a list.
I will go on a list.
You'll go on a list, but you couldn't do it.
But I could do it, and I'll walk, and I'll be done in an hour.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're very free here. It's gotten better. It really has gotten a lot better than what it used to. But then there's other states where it's getting worse. Like New
Right.
Jersey, Illinois,
The
California,
coast. Yeah.
Oregon.
What would you recommend?
I would definitely recommend that you pick one gun that you love, that you feel good about, and then you get really good at that one gun. I would keep it simple. But the big thing about a girl, and I don't know, I guess I could say why, but a lot of it's just because it's harder to conceal a gun for a woman than it is a man. And
As far as how they dress, as far as clothing,
yeah,
or as
just
far
like
as
just
body type, or
clothing
what?
and holsters available.
Okay.
Because as a guy, I could put the outside the waistband holster and just a suit coat on. I'm good to go.
That's true.
If you're wearing a dress or something like that, it's not as easy all of a sudden. So for like my daughter, when she was, I got her a gun when she was like 22, and I bought her a little tiny
Is that Derringer?
North American
Okay.
Arms 5-round 22 Magnum.
Yep.
And I like,
Yeah.
of course it
Right,
will.
right.
Feel it. So I
Purse, right?
no, don't let it sit in your purse.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So that's my recommendation. Something very concealable, something that you love, that you're going to train with, and keep it simple.
If you can afford the ammo to train with.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole
That's a
other
whole
That's
other
a whole
topic.
other.
Or your Mercedes. We had a local gun shop that, the moment it went up to Maggie, and put
We
like
lost our
6.
connection.
I was wanting to come.
We're gonna keep going because
Okay.
we may catch back up.
Yep. It'll come back.
So we had a little glitch there. We were out in the middle of nowhere. We probably shouldn't have come this far out.
This was my request, by the way.
it
for
was a
driving out by
request.
the school. Yeah, I
It
appreciate
was.
it.
We're blaming
Oh,
Mark
it's
for
okay.
this
We're coming
request.
back. We're good.
So we held off a little bit because we had a glitch. So we really haven't talked about too much during that little glitch area. But we had a local gun shop that did a funny little meme, and it got these little baggies, put 6 bullets in it, and like drug baggies, and put some ammo in it, and was like black market. Hey, you got what I need. You got what I need. It was pretty funny. So, but anyway, well,
Anything else on your mind, Mark?
yeah.
You didn't hit on, buddy?
Yeah.
Oh, you totally disconnected.
all right. Will, are we back on at all?
Nope.
Disconnected.
We'll have it to. Are we back on?
Not sure. So on my Facebook page, it's still going.
Okay. Well,
All right, so
we'll
We'll just do like anything else you have, Mark?
yeah. Any last thing that you?
Worried about HR 127. I'd be real surprised if it made it through the Senate. There's nothing in it that I like, but I like that it's so extreme in that if it makes it to the president's desk, people will argue that the Supreme Court typically does not take up Second Amendment cases, but recently they did, and a lot of people don't realize it, that there was New York City had essentially said you can't go anywhere with a gun at all other than the gun range. So for example, if I owned a gun, it had to stay in my house 24/7 unless I went to the gun range. problem is, well, what if I need to stop and get gas on the way? Suddenly I'm a felon. So it made it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court took that case up, and then the state of New York completely dropped the law. They said, okay, we surrender, we'll get rid of this law, because they were afraid that if the Supreme Court took it up, that then they'd actually get rid of all their other anti-Second Amendment things they had going on in the state of New York.
Gotcha.
So in a weird way, this law is so extreme that if it does make it, I think we're going to actually see ourselves a little Second Amendment freer as an end result. But I really don't think it'll make it through. However, I just think we got to be cautious as Americans, because if you look at Virginia, what happened in Virginia, Virginia was very pro Second Amendment, and then overnight, it's almost like people just weren't paying attention.
Right, just snuck it in.
And there was all of a sudden an election in November, and it was a very minor local election, but the Second Amendment people lost control, and suddenly there was extreme anti-Second Amendment hate. Virginia went from being the freest state, one of the freest states, to being one of the most suppressed.
Hey, Jeff, if we're still on, buddy, give us a thumbs up.
Yeah,
Sherelle just hopped on.
Sherelle,
Hey,
what's up?
Sherelle.
Sherelle, she's home.
But we're waiting to see if we're still on.
Yeah, we were out in the middle of nowhere, and so we lost it for a few moments. So hopefully we're back online.
Somebody give us a shout out.
Let me text
thumbs
Sherelle.
Yeah,
up.
give a thumbs up. Give something that says that we're still here.
Thanks, Sherelle.
We'd appreciate it. So, but man, what a cool conversation tonight, man.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, what a great thing to talk about. Just on a car ride, like Dale and I were talking, man. Like the cool thing about the car rides is that's where a lot of conversations happen.
Oh, we have thumbs up. We're on.
You know, got thumbs up still, so we're
Yeah, we
still
are.
on. So
I want to say this too to the God, family, and gun community.
yes,
We want to say hello to you guys.
Absolutely.
You may have seen our faces a year or so ago, a little bit here and there, but you know, Mark is like a brother to us, great friend, and we want to say thank you. You know, just for letting us be part of the community every once in a while.
it was cool to see all your comments too. Like I went back and read a lot of the comments and all that. Some of you guys were born in the right era. Like
those cars were
those
awesome,
cars
man.
that you guys had was
Now we're
my mind was
switching to cars,
my mind was
Yeah.
blown.
Switch to cars again.
Sorry,
That's all
back
right.
on cars.
We just want to say
but
thanks.
yeah, thank you
Yeah,
guys for
absolutely.
just accepting us, and I know it's a change for your channel. You know what I mean?
Well-
Having two weirdos come on and talk for a while.
I like the show.
Well, one weirdo.
But you know, I'll say this, that just to really your community and the YouTube community, that these two guys, these are spiritual warriors, and I kind of said that in an intro last week, but like they really legit are. There's not many out there who are willing to take a few punches for Jesus, and that's these guys.
That's our connection. You know,
We appreciate it.
you know, God brought us together in weird ways, and you know, we're out here, and
Sometimes war's fun when you come through the other side.
Sometimes.
You know? Yeah.
Sometimes.
it is, and we're seeing
Spiritual war.
More it's the looking back at it. you know
Looking
what I
back
mean?
at it.
Looking back at it.
and we're
So,
seeing names that are watching and they're commenting too.
Yeah.
That's in that with us. So, you know, we just want to make sure that we acknowledge and say thank you to God, family, and gun
Absolutely.
community. And again, those of you watching, that if you've not had a chance, jump on YouTube. It's a great channel.
Yeah.
Solid information that you can.
It's not only guns. It's not. I mean, it's not only guns.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's got a lot of Bible studies. He's got a lot of, you know, just a lot of different things on there right now.
Going through the Book of Revelation, that's a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. That's
67 episodes, doing it verse by verse.
That's a
oh
lot,
my
man.
gosh.
That's
I
a
know.
lot.
I thought I was going to do like 20. I'm not even halfway through.
And that's what makes it fun, you know,
Yeah.
when you do it as friends, and you kind of pour in each other, and you have fellowship like this. And
Right.
got my daughter over here.
Yeah,
with
that's cool
us.
having Mary back there.
Mary's here.
It's always better to have a pretty face in a video than our
Well,
faces,
it's not
right?
our faces,
That's
right.
right? There, you know, but, so we
So-
just want to, you know, say thanks again, and to everybody that's
Thank
been
you, God,
watching
Family Guns.
Straight Up Guy Talk.
Yep, and to our Facebook people and just
You know,
everybody, man.
It's fun. You
Yeah.
know, this
So
is
it's
something
fun.
that we love to do, and we appreciate you guys a
Yep.
ton. So, man, we could keep going on and on. I think we've been on for
We're at
We
45.
45
A couple more
minutes.
comments.
Okay, we'll do
Comments,
comments and then
More
we'll.
comments.
Yep.
Joe said Warriors. Chad,
Yes.
Chad said, you took several punches for Jesus too, Mark.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
Trenton April said, nice to see you, Mark.
Oh,
Y'all
April.
are a group of great warriors and great people.
Oh, that's awesome.
There you go.
That's
Well, you guys are in it with
Very
us.
cool.
That's
Yep.
right.
So we know
Yep.
you guys too, and that's what makes it awesome.
It's about doing life together.
Yeah, that's
You know,
okay.
this is all about
That's
doing
what
life together, guys.
That's what it's about. So,
So,
any parting words, Mary?
Not that I can think of.
Nothing.
I can think of.
Nothing.
Mary,
Oh, yeah,
did you buy a
thank
gun?
you. I did not yet. That's what I was asking.
All right, what are you leaning towards?
I don't know yet. So I was
Gotcha.
like, I'm gonna get his opinion.
She likes that Springfield that I
I
showed
do.
you we have.
Yeah.
Which one?
We got that that subcompact.
Mod 2.
Yeah, the Mod 2.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Wendy both. Wendy, I bought it first, and Wendy loved it. She hated that little 380, but I don't know. Then we go
I
look,
like
and
it.
we'll take Mark with
Yep,
us.
there you go.
Yeah,
There you
I'm
go.
always up for shooting. I need to, Chad, gotta go shooting.
There you go.
There you
There you
hear
go.
that, Chad? Any other comments
Yeah.
yet? All
I
right.
can see.
Any parting words, Mark?
No, just be aware. Don't let fear take over. I mean, the Second Amendment is always under threat. Always has. Like I said, my whole life it's been under threat. It's gotten better. And people will use that as a fear, you know, they're going to take our guns. I mean,
Right.
they've been saying that forever.
Forever.
And it also shows how important, you know, a lot of people, I'm not proud of the way the direction the NRA is going at all.
Right.
But it shows how important organizations like the NRA are.
Sure.
Like somebody's
Yeah.
got to be out filing suit against
Right.
these Second Amendment violations. And, you know, it's certainly not us. And so...
One last question.
Yeah.
All right. What other organizations? There's a bunch of them out there. Would you recommend if we want to jump in the battle, jump in the fight, join, maybe help financially? Is there anybody you'd recommend?
Gosh, I wish I would have prepared for that. There's a couple. I don't remember their names offhand. There are a few. There's a few
Right.
popping up that
Missouri
are.
Coalition, something Missouri.
Yeah.
There's all states have them. Typically, most states will have them. There's one that's called like the Second Amendment Fighters or something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Well, Monday you can put it in the
Yeah,
description.
I'll put it in the description on,
Yeah.
on the YouTube video. But
Very
And
cool.
of course, contact our legislators, right?
oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because again, with the way that everything's split 50-50 right now in the Senate, this bill is so extreme. I don't think it's gonna go. I think it's almost too extreme, which usually will make somebody down the road go, well, I think we're pushing a little too
Right.
far.
Right. Okay.
Chad said definitely let's shoot when the weather is
It is
Yeah.
Come on,
really
Chad.
cold. Come
You're
on,
shooting
0
for buddy.
degrees. Come
Well,
You didn't
on.
realize like Tuesday is supposed to be like 50 degrees, Chad. So that's a
It is.
better
There
weather,
you go.
right? So
There you go.
very cool.
Well, I said my thing. I'm not going to do it again because we'll be on all night probably. What
Yeah.
about you, Jonathan?
I think I'm good. I really appreciate Mark you coming out
Yeah,
and just having the
thanks for
conversation
having
with
me.
us and giving of your expertise and your knowledge. And you know, I love firearms, but I don't know all the background stuff that's going on. So it's nice to be informed. So I think we learned tonight. Stay informed. Don't let fear take you over.
Right.
You know,
Don't let fear take you.
trust in the Lord. You know,
Fight
and
the fight.
fight the fight.
Yep, fight
So,
the fight. So,
I
Amen.
guess in the meantime, until next week, I'm Jonathan,
I'm Dale.
Mark?
I'm Mary.
and you're watching Straight Up Guy Talk. Thanks, guys.
God bless you.
Okay, how do I turn it off now? Because. Hey, Jonathan.
You just slide the button.
No, you can't.
Oh, we're not even connected right now.
But it is.
But it's been
Are we
going
really?
on.
Yes.
We're
Nice.
still here, guys.
We're still here.
We
Sorry.
we might still be here.
Sorry, guys.
We may still be here, guys.
Turn the power off to the mute.
No, we've lost Mevo. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we've lost it. You sure
It's been like that for 20 minutes.
So
Yeah.
we probably are not live then.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're live. I'm watching it.
Yeah, we're still live.
Really? All right, we're still live. So I'm going to shut you off the camera.
Hey, guys.
Mark, you're going to want to edit this.
Yeah, a little
That's all
bit.
right.
See you guys.
See ya.